a
that
reporter
question
and you can't wake up.
Yeah, I would go with something more like an oatmeal, a yogurt, and a fruit juice.
Hear that, Scott? Okay, Scott.
Confessions
And,
of a junkie breakfast.
He's not alone.
Oh, no.
There are a lot of people. And breakfast, is it true, Angie, that breakfast is probably the toughest meal to really sit down and get something healthy?
I think our lifestyles make it that way.
Okay.
I mean, if we got up a little earlier, if we prioritized it, as they do in some other cultures, maybe not so. But we kind of, I think, have a tendency to have a shotgun start.
Yes.
We're going to get up, we're going to get X number of things done, get ready, get to the office,
right.
And we kind of, I'm the worst offender of ignoring breakfast and then getting hungry later on and eating junk, because junk is quick and healthy can be a little more work. So,
is breakfast the most important meal?
How about you?
in many ways, yes, but I think, I think you could put your meals together. My daughter is a good example of someone.
Yeah.
She doesn't wake up hungry.
Really?
Okay, so like a mid-morning snack would be ideal. Now, she's still in school, so that's not really an option for her now. But moving forward, something like that maybe would be a good option for her. And then looking at a really healthy, nutritious lunch. There are different ways to do it. It's about food choices. It's about proportions. We're a little out of whack there.
We hear about proportions all the time, and you watch these shows, and they say, well, your portion of steak should only be,
Yes.
Oh, come on. One bite, and I'm done.
A deck of cards, right?
Yes, yeah,
a deck
exactly.
of cards.
Yes.
And the CDC has put together, I think it's myplate.gov. I don't have that right in front of me, but if you look at the CDC website and you look for nutrition information, they have arranged a plate that shows you which proportion of this plate should be grains or meat or vegetables. And fruits and vegetables is like half the plate. They increased the servings of fruits and vegetables they're recommending. And you're right, the meat keeps shrinking. Certainly fats, sugary foods, things like that. Now it's not the top of the pyramid anymore. It's been wiped aside, and it's more like sparingly as a treat.
Oh,
I know.
Wow.
It's depressing, but we can see here that we do need to address the way that we're eating and the way that we're exercising. And one of the interesting things to me is obesity is overtaking tobacco use as the leading causes of death, which is a little confusing, but it's looking at what causes the health problems, the diseases, the chronic conditions that end people's lives, and what makes those conditions happen. Obesity is taking over tobacco use, which was the leader for a lot of years, but we've seen that come down and down and down. And I'm hoping that if we really focus on the way that we eat and the way that we exercise, we can bring this problem under control as well.
Now, we are actually going to talk about weight status here, but now let's talk about that. Tobacco for so many years up here. And then you've had all the advertisement, or lack of advertisement. And you have the Surgeon Council putting all sorts of labels on labels. Okay, that's come down. In the meantime, we've done nothing about obesity, but we have fast food commercials out, galore doing this. So we kind of went down in one, but the other has had no defense mechanisms, and now we're all of a sudden we're up here now.
Yes.
Okay.
So are people eating instead of smoking?
Well, there you go. Have they substituted one thing for the other? Perhaps. But I think you'll be able to see some lifestyle changes in the jobs that we have.
This is Jenny.
What we do with our free time. The way that we get our meals.
Not in my office.
Growing up,
Do you want me a pager?
Mom grocery shopped and prepared meals on the food pyramid, and that's the way that we ate.
Hold on a second.
I think families are go, 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 go. And, I'm a working mom. And so we do meals, we have a different relationship with food and how we eat. So maybe there's some substitution there, but I think it's broader shifts in lifestyle that maybe are responsible for that. And you have a lot of people looking at what you talked about some public policies. What public policies should we have around food? For example, the the concept of food assistance and what you can and cannot buy with that food assistance.
Okay.
I know there are some creative programs that are going on with community gardens,
Okay.
with farmers markets. You talked about the farmers markets and being able to use food assistance at farmers markets
Okay.
or groceries, and maximizing those dollars. Because the real crazy thing is good food costs more.
It does. Yes.
If
We
you
all
go
know
grocery
that.
shopping and fill your cart with good food,
Mhm.
you will pay significantly more at the register
Yes.
than if you're throwing in the junk.
Exactly.
So that's something we want to look at, is how can we make it more affordable?
Okay.
How can we help people develop good strategies for fitting in the meal preparation that's healthy into that busier day? What kind of support can we give to one another? You have some really interesting co-ops where, hey, I'm going to get together with 5 friends, and we're each going to prepare one healthy meal.
Okay.
We're going to package it, we're going to swap them at the beginning of the week, and then look, I had to make one big meal, and I get 6 meals for my effort.
That's cool.
So you have some real creative things. There are offices. I talked with a family member whose office has collectively lost a lot of weight because they're supporting one another and what they're eating at work. We did a salad club for a while. We need to bring that back at work, where we took turns making some kind of salad. So you're always getting something different. It was interesting to see the different takes on healthy food,
Right.
but we were eating something healthy together at lunchtime at work. That's, a very different way to share food than, oh my gosh, I baked brownies, let me bring those in. That's nice too,
Yeah.
but we're kind of moving together in the wrong direction. So,
Well, now, that's good. Now, since we're on the weight, we'll stay on that.
okay.
You had youth weight status and
Yes.
adult weight status.
Yes.
What struck you as a surprise, or did everything pretty much go as you thought?
I was surprised. I knew that obesity was a problem going in.
Okay.
I knew that overweight was a problem. I guess I assumed that we were pretty comparable with the state and the nation.
Right.
We're all getting heavier together.
Okay.
We're doing worse.
Okay.
Okay, so, and let me talk, first you have to understand a little bit about the way that we measured whether you're overweight or obese.
Okay.
We use something called BMI, or body mass index. It's just a relationship of your weight to your height, and there are good BMI calculators online.
Yes.
So if you're wondering, how do I fall, get online, enter your weight, enter your height, enter your age, and it's going to let you know where you should be, and then that becomes a goal. But overweight was anyone with a BMI of 25 to 29.9, again, dividing your weight by your height.
Okay.
Obesity was a score of 30 or greater. Okay. There are some limitations to BMI. If I'm a really healthy, really fit bodybuilder,
Right.
my muscle mass is going to drive me over that number, even though I'm quite healthy.
Right.
So it doesn't take things like that into consideration. It is imperfect, and the way they do that with youth is different, because different ages should have varying amounts of fat.
Okay, so what's good
That's
for
healthy.
an adult is not the same.
Correct.
for
So they very much figure that by age.
Okay.
And think of how a kid grows. A lot of times they grow out, then they grow up. Then they grow out, then they grow up.
Right.
So you want to factor that in,
Okay.
or we're labeling kids as obese or overweight who are quite healthy. So youth works a little different. We don't have concrete numbers
Okay.
because, again, it's by age. So this is how we kind of fared.
Okay.
70% of us need to lose some weight because we were either obese or overweight.
Okay.
It was pretty even. It was a little over a third of us were overweight, and a little over a third of us were obese
Okay.
using BMI. So again, over 70% of us need to lose some weight. The good news is that 43% of adults were trying to lose weight, and about half of our youth are trying to lose weight. So we're already putting some effort into fixing that problem for ourselves.
Okay.
That's the good news. Our youth did better than our adults at getting physical activity.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Yep.
And our youth did better than our adults at getting their fruits and
Yes,
vegetables.
I was going to bring that up.
A lot better.
Yep.
So when you look at those numbers, we the adults, and again, youth have some advantages. They have in-school sports and physical education.
Right.
Although, budget constraints there are in a lot of ways shrinking those programs within our schools. School lunches have taken a lot of criticism, and it's not that we don't need to look at that, but obviously that's where our kids are getting their fruits and vegetables because they're not getting them with us.
Right. Exactly.
So we got to give some credit there as well. So those are some things that stood out to me.
Okay.
Here's another piece that I thought was interesting that will not surprise our young people, but I think are a little surprising to those of us who are older. One of the biggest competitors for physical activity is maybe this couch potato syndrome. And looking specifically at our youth and the amount of time they're seated in front of a TV, computer, video game, kind of blew my mind. 2.5 hours of TV viewing on average a day. 1.4 hours playing a video game a day. 2.6 hours socializing on the computer. We took the homework assignments out of that.
Okay.
And then 3.7 hours texting. Now, if you add all of this up...
They don't sleep.
That's right. They don't go to school and they don't sleep. They're doing it simultaneously. But they definitely have to be sedentary. I mean, you're not exercising and texting and watching the TV and socialing on the computer. You're probably sedentary. I guess the one exception I would make is some of those video games that are like the Wii console
where
and
you actually stand it up.
So if that's something that your kids have and they enjoy, you might be able to introduce that as a way for them to get that exercise. So.
Yeah, I was reading that too. It's like, man, oh man.
Yeah.
And you don't actually have under physical activity like that for the adults, do you?
No, you didn't ask the question. But I thought of that too when I was reading through this. We made some assumptions that it's a problem for youth and maybe overlooked the problem it's become for adults. And we might be blown away to see those numbers higher for adults. And so I think going back, we would want to go ahead and take a look at that question with our adults too.
We have it's 20 minutes till the hour 10 o'clock. We're just about out of time. And there's so much more. I think what we're going to do is that maybe once every other month we'll have you come back and we'll just pick one topic or maybe two topics instead of trying to get it all in here today. Yeah, because the overweight, the status was very important. That BMI, that's been around ever since Linda and I were kids, and even then I thought it was stupid. Only from the standpoint, you got to be kidding. I'm this amount, and you want me to get down here?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that since I was in junior high. My goodness.
And I think it shouldn't be a barrier.
Right.
Move in the right direction.
Well, even if you get half of that.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're here, and this is where BMI wants you. Well, then, come right here.
Yeah.
Start something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a person who is moved from obese to overweight is still healthier and less at risk for those chronic conditions, diabetes, heart disease, cancers. There are so many of our causes of death that are linked to being unfit, being out of shape. So moving in the right direction is still progress.
Yes, it is. Any little bit will help. So.
Yeah.
So, Angie, we appreciate you coming in today, and we will have you back, and we'll pick a couple other topics so that we can go in more detail. And we do want to mention right after the show, Angie's going to be talking with Aaron Krause, and you and Aaron are going to have a nice story in Reflector, so you'll be able to get more information and some more numbers that you can sit down and chew for a while. So.
Sounds good.
Right. By the way, if you chew the newspaper, there's not any calories in that. So.
I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for being here, and look forward to having you back again in a couple months.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Kerry Ashby, if he's back from his newspaper rounds, are going to be in. We're going to talk a couple of stories that Kerry's been working on. We'll do that right after this word from Fisher Titus Medical Center.